So I'm standing in front of the brand new 2025 Hyundai Ioniq 9 at the LA Auto Show. Let's dive in and see what Hyundai has done with this brand new EV SUV. All right, let's start with the looks, and let me tell you, they are bold and in some places a little head scratching. So starting out with the front, there is a light bar that is inspired by 8-bit video game graphics, hinting that this thing is an EV. Moving down, there is a very large black portion on the grille here, which houses, it looks like a radar sensor, some cameras, and a whole bunch of the technology related items at the front of the car. And then it is flanked by these two, I don't know if you want to call them headlights, but the dot matrix or the 8-bit matrix headlight theme continues here. And there's one on this side as well. And the whole 8-bit video game graphics just give it that distinctive and bold look that will probably separate it from a lot of other 3-row EV SUVs. Now out the side, there is a sloping roof here that somewhat resembles a Range Rover, but one thing I wanted to highlight is the angle and the slope of the front windshield. Check out how sloped that is, and this is all in the name of aerodynamics, and Hyundai has been able to achieve somewhat of a pretty magnificent feat in that the drag coefficient of this massive 3-row SUV is 0.26, which is extremely impressive for a car this size. Now let's move a little bit closer to the fenders, and I'm going to go to the back because there's somebody looking at the front fenders. And this is actually a little interesting. For the first time, they're using aluminum, and Hyundai said that they're doing that to save weight. The odd thing is it's kind of like a Lego piece, and the reason why I say that, notice how there's the fender itself, and then there's like this brow on top of it, and then there's the bottom piece, and it kind of looks a little busy to me. I don't know. It's cool and different, but it looks, like I said, like a Lego piece. And the same thing continues up front here. And the other interesting thing about it is this piece here, this piece, not the brow, in this top calligraphy trim is the only time it'll be painted in the body color. In all the other trims, it's going to be painted in black, which kind of, in my opinion, makes it look even weirder. But the other thing that looks a little weird is this bottom portion here. So I'm not sure what's going on with body color black for this bottom piece, but that is what's going on here, and it does create somewhat of an illusion, but I find it to look a little weird, and personally I would have done it differently. Now let's move to the back where those 8-bit video game taillights continue, and you can see that it actually wraps around the entirety of the back end, up and over the tailgate up here. It's quite an interesting design, and it comes all the way down to the other side. It kind of gives off Volvo XC90 vibes. There's some, I feel like some Escalade taillight given the length of the taillight itself, but I do think it gives the back end of the Ioniq a pretty interesting vibe back here, and to be honest with you, it just looks cool, just like the front headlights. Now I've got the trunk open, and with all 3 rows folded up, you've got 21 cubic feet of space, and with everything folded down, it's 46 cubic feet of space. And in addition to that, there's a frunk, which I'll show you here in just a second, that adds an additional 3.1 cubic feet of space. So even with the seats folded up, I would imagine 2 to maybe 3 larger pieces of suitcases can be stacked on top of each other. Daily commutes and taking your stuff around with your family and long weekend getaways should not be an issue in terms of cargo space for the Ioniq 9. Now let's quickly talk about the trims and the battery EV details. So at launch, the Ioniq 9 will have 3 trims: the long-range rear-wheel drive, long-range all-wheel drive, and the performance all-wheel drive. All 3 of them come with the same 110 kilowatt-an-hour battery, and Hyundai says that the long-range rear-wheel drive with the 19-inch wheels will achieve 335 miles on a full battery charge. In fact, they're trying to get at least 300 miles from all 3 trim levels, including the all-wheel drive and the high horsepower all-wheel drive performance. Now, speaking of horsepower, it's going to range from, I believe, 200 to 429, 0 to 60 times will range from 4.9 seconds for the fastest one and up to 8 seconds for the lowest horsepower. So in terms of the electric motors, there's a 160 kilowatt motor charging the rear wheel drive model. The front wheel drive long range has an additional 70 kilowatt an hour motor in the front, and the all-wheel drive performance has 260 kilowatt motors driving the front and the rear. Okay, now let's talk about charging. So this is going to follow the new 2025 NACS standard for all electric cars. So the way you open the charging port, you push that. It is a electronic opening port, and the cover, the port itself, there it is the NACS, replacing all the CCS type chargers that we're so accustomed to in non-Tesla cars. So this is the Tesla connector, and what this means is that these Hyundai cars and generally all other brand new EVs will be able to make use of the Tesla supercharger network, and with just an adapter you can also use the CCS Electrify America EV Go chargers. So hopefully this will alleviate some of the issues that people have in terms of charging or finding chargers for their EV cars. Right now, hopping on into the inside, let me show you one really cool feature on this seat. So it's called a relaxation seating position. You push this button here and the seat will go into this lounging position that is optimal for taking a nap. This thing, the backrest does fully recline all the way down, and this leg rest goes all the way up. So let me move it back so we can hop inside and I can show you what's going on in here. Now, this is the calligraphy edition, and these seats are absolutely beautiful. Really nice looking in general. This is a green color. It looks kind of gray, but in person it's green. And then the white contrast here at the bottom. Let's move to the interior. And highlighting it is a 24-inch screen. Now these are two 12-inch screens. There's a little center section here that divides them, but there's an infotainment screen here and gauges here up on the dash. The steering wheel has some additional pixels, and these do light up, giving you some additional functionality, telling you how much charging power and other functions that I'm not really aware of. It just says, the press release just says that there's some additional functionality here. Some buttons here, physical buttons, which are always nice. Coming down here to the bottom, speaking of physical buttons, there are a plethora here. It does look like there's some type of screen, but everything seems to be controlled via physical buttons and knobs and switches, which is always a plus. There are 3 USB Type-C chargers, and this one looks like it's a high output 100 watts, so it'll allow you to charge a little bit faster. Looks like there is a 12-volt outlet there, a lot of storage space, and this center section here looks like it's a drive mode controller with some cameras, and this is for your wireless charger. And 2 cup holders here, and this armrest is plentiful, nicely cushioned, and the area underneath it is really nice as well. Now, one really cool thing about this thing, check it out. It goes back and forward, backwards and forwards. So this allows for easier entry and exit from the back seat passengers, and it also allows you to rest your arm in a little more comfortable position. There's another interesting thing. The shifter is this twist knob style thing. There, it doesn't have any upward or downward motion. The start stop button is up here, so no concerns about this being flimsy or anything. It's literally rock solid. It's not going anywhere. Start stop there. Drive is up. Drive is twisted forward. Reverse is twisted backward. Neutral is just a little twist there towards the front. So quite interesting execution. That is what it looks like, and here is the park button. But overall, let me turn the camera around. Let me show you what I look like in terms of how I fit in here. So I'm 5'11". I'm sitting comfortably here. I have plenty of headroom. I have plenty of legroom. The overall cabin up front is really adequate. Is actually not adequate. It's more than adequate. It's fantastic sizing. I don't have any concerns about somebody taller or bigger, wider than me being comfortable or getting comfortable in the front of the Ioniq 9. Now let's hop into the back seat area and see what's going on there. Now let's look at the back seat. Here is a glimpse of the door handle. It has a really cool Ioniq logo there. Let's open it up. And this door actually opens really, really wide. Nice big opening for people to get in and out. Cool design on the door pad there. Let's move and take a look at the inside. This is obviously the calligraphy and highest trim, so the leather and the materials and all that stuff is going to be top notch. But here's a look. This one has the 6 occupant configuration with 2 captain chairs and a bench style seat in the back there. The way you access the back, there's a button right here, and then there's also a button down here on the seat. So if you push that, the seat will electronically move forward and give you a nice amount of space to hop into the back. And when you're ready to hop back in, you push the same button or either one of the buttons and you hop back in. It'll retract to the same exact position it was in before you push the button. Now let me give you a glimpse of how I feel in here. All right, so in the back seat, this feels very open and airy. Okay, so the full glass panoramic roof on top of me feels fantastic. The big windows, this is very underrated, give it a very, very open sensation in the back seat here. The seats are cushioned nicely, very comfortable. These do also have the relaxation or seating position, whatever, that lounges and you can kind of take a nap. But overall, the seating position back here is wonderful. There are some amenities here. It looks like the seats are heated and cooled. There is a separate climate control zone back here, maybe 2 of them. And there's a screen here to control the system. There is a nice drawer here, nice sized drawer for the backseat passengers. And this armrest section here can be opened from both directions, both from the backseat passengers and also the front seat passengers have the ability to open that center storage compartment as well. Now let me hop into the back, and there's a nice amount of room that I can just squeeze in between. Let me give you a sense of what's going on back here. Again, at 5'11", my knees are touching the front seat, but I must say there's plenty of room for the seats to move forward and to still be comfortable, even for a taller person. So for me, I'm 5'11". I have headroom, plenty of it, and it's not an issue. The legroom, like I said, I am touching the seat. This needs to move forward a little bit, but I would imagine 2 individuals my size are not going to have an issue sitting back here. I see that there is even a charging port and 2 cup holders for each side. So there's 4 cup holders back here. Actually, there's 3. There's 2 on this side, and then there's 1 on this side and 2 on the other side, which is strange why the split. But nonetheless, there are 3 cup holders back here, so it's decently equipped and comfortable even for the 3rd row passengers. Now, in terms of anything official, there's pretty much nothing being confirmed now, no pricing, timeline, even though some people suspect it's going to be sometime in 2025. But that's pretty much it for the 2025 Hyundai Ioniq 9. If you've got any questions about it, please make sure you leave me a comment down below or send me a message on Instagram at DriveSteady. If you happen to be interested in other videos that I've made covering the LA Auto Show, here's some links for you to watch. Otherwise, thank you for watching this video. Until next time, drive steady.